So you're looking to move to the Greater Lansing Michigan area and you're wondering how much does it really cost to live in Lansing, Michigan? Well, in this video, I'm going to address as many possible things that I can so that you have an idea of how much it would cost to live in the Greater Lansing area. I'm going to cover everything from car insurance to house payments to groceries, even movie tickets. So stick around until the end because you will be able to hear what the cost of a movie ticket is in the Lansing area. So let's not waste any more time here. Let's get started with this new episode of Lansing, Michigan Life in 3, 2, 1, go. Hey everybody, Troy Seifert here with the Capital Area Real Estate Specialist here in the Greater Lansing, Michigan area. And we get phone calls all the time from people who are just like you, people who are watching this channel, looking to move to relocate here. And so whether you're looking to move here in 9 days or even 90 days or 9 months, whatever timetable that may be, please feel free to reach out to me through calling me, texting me, emailing me. Also, you can also schedule a Zoom call and I will be able to meet you and be able to dialogue with you and be able to give you maybe some expectation as well as hear about your timeline. So feel free to do that. Also, if you could, please like, subscribe, ring the bell for any notifications so that you can be immediately notified when a new episode of Lansing, Michigan Life goes live, which right now we are going twice a week. So for you to be notified, go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you have any questions on anything in my videos, if you could comment below so that I can interact with you. I'm also very responsive. So please, I would greatly appreciate you being able to interact with me that way too. So just kind of like my video that I did where I talked about a lot of tips and tricks to moving to the Greater Lansing area, some fun facts, all of that. With this one, the cost of living in Lansing, I feel like I've got a lot to cover as well. So I'm just gonna get right into it right here and get into the meat of what the cost of living looks like in Lansing. But it does bring to my attention before I get into that. The one reason why I'm doing this video is because I think when people move to the area and they're looking for a house, that they're so focused on the price of the house. Like, this is how much it's gotta be. You know, I'm looking for a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 house, or even $600,000, $800,000, $1 million, whatever figure that would be. And they're so focused on that amount, they might get their pre-approval from their bank. This is how much they can afford. And a lot of times we don't pay attention to utilities and what insurance would look like, and what groceries look like, and what the cost of gas looks like, and what childcare and schooling, if I wanted to take my kid to a private school, how much that would look like. So I made this video just so that you can be fully prepared for as many things as possible. I know there might be some things here that I might miss, but I feel that the biggest factors when it comes to what you're going to spend each and every month when you're here in the state of Michigan. First thing, obviously with housing, okay, the cost of living, the housing. If you are in the Greater Lansing area, the average cost is around, as of right now, we're in close to November 2024, you're looking at about $225,000 for the average cost of living, right? But if you go to Okemos, average is about $400,000 for a house. If you go to Lansing proper, which is like we like to call it, like the city of Lansing, that's gonna run you probably around 200, or high 100s, depending on what neighborhood you go to. If you go to DeWitt, it's pretty close to Okemos. If you go to Hazlitt, pretty close to Okemos, like around, $350,000 to $400,000. Grand Ledge might be $325,000 to $350,000. So you're looking at an average in the suburbs of Lansing of around $300,000 to $400,000 plus. And for those of you who are buying a home for the first time, or maybe for those of you who this is your second or third time, I'm going to be giving you a reminder here, okay? Whenever you have your mortgage payment, you have principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Your loan officer that you use will also be able to let you be informed of this concept. But whenever you're looking to buy, there are 4 factors. So the principal and interest is based upon your purchase price of the house. Okay, easy enough. Your taxes are based upon the taxable assessed value of your house. One thing to be cautious of when you're looking on Zillow, Realtor.com, just the internet sites, they're gonna show you what the taxes are. And you're gonna see what those taxes are at that time. But if you were going to purchase this house at a higher price, which more than likely you will from what they had spent on it even 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 years ago, the one thing you need to be aware of is that that assessment the following year is going to go higher. If you look in Meridian Township, which has Hazlet, Okemos, parts of East Lansing, that assessor is going to see what the purchase price was in the following year. They are going to take, automatically, they're going to take half of your purchase price, make that the taxable value, and then your new tax, your new property taxes for the year are going to get considerably up. So for, and I've said this in other videos, for a $400,000 house in Okemos, your taxes are looking at about $1,000 a month. So not only do you have the principal and interest, but you have taxes of $1,000 a month. The other thing is your homeowner's insurance. Homeowner's insurance, that's gonna be a condition if you get a loan. Obviously, if you're paying cash, you're gonna wanna have it anyway in case your house burns down to the ground, there's wind damage, homeowner's insurance covers that. So for homeowner's insurance in the area, depending on the size of the house, I really have not seen any new homeowner's insurance premiums any less than like $120 to $150 a month, and that's on the low end. If you get a larger house, you're looking at it being higher. At least in my experience, when I was in insurance, and I have a whole video about auto insurance, so insurance was my background before I got into real estate. So I do know insurance enough to be dangerous. So I work for State Farm. I was Jake from State Farm there. Haha. I can tell you're really laughing there on the other side. But when I did homeowners insurance, I found that a newer built home had a lesser premium than a home that was a little bit older, even 30, 40, 50 years old. So keep that in mind when you're looking for a newly built home, that the premiums might be a little bit less just because they see less risk for homes that are newly built as opposed to older homes. So a tip for you as you're looking for homeowners insurance, and if you don't have a loan officer or somebody who could be able to quote insurance for you, I do have a couple guys that would love to be able to help you out and give you plenty of information as well. You're looking at your principal, interest, taxes, insurance. You have to keep all of those things in mind. Also, if you are looking for a condo, so you want the homeowners association, you want the condo association to take care of your lawn care, you want them to take care of your snow removal, that's gonna be an added cost. And in our area, on average, you're looking at about $350 to $400 a month for condo association fees. In fact, there are some associations in Okemos, in East Lansing, some associations that a lot of the units were built in the late 70s, early 80s. They've had a new assessment of their budget, and they came to realize that there was a shortage. So now some of those monthly charges are about $500 a month. So you have to keep that in mind when you're looking at condos as well, that you're gonna have an additional cost on top of the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. With condos, the thing that's good is your insurance is gonna be a little bit less than what a homeowner's policy would be. Depending on what association you're with, a lot of the associations will cover the outside, so like the roof and the windows. So that's why your premium would be less for insurance. But if you want the lawn care covered, if you want the snow removal, if that's gonna come at a price. So on average, I've been seeing it $350 to $500. Like it used to be that some of them would have it as low as $200 a month, but because of COVID and just the cost of insurance going up as much as, not the cost of insurance, the cost of landscaping going up as much as it did, that really affected the monthly premiums for what a condo association would charge you. So keep that in mind. I know I spent a lot of time just on the housing, but I feel like that's the most important part. So I do have others here. I'm gonna try to fly through these, but I wanted to address that one first with the housing, just so that you keep that in mind as you're doing your monthly budget for what you're going to be spending. The second thing for the cost of living in Lansing that you have to keep in mind are your utilities, which would kind of have to do with cost of housing, right? Because if you own a home, you're gonna have electric, gas, water. You're gonna have all of these features. So in our area, the average for water and sewer payments are at about $50 a month. Now, if you were to live in Grand Ledge has had it where it's been closer to $100 to $120 a month for water and sewer. Every municipality, I guess, is different, but on average, within the Lansing Board of Water and Light area, which is who takes care of the water and the majority of sewer in the area, unless you're in a far out suburb, your average is gonna be around $50 a month. That's how much it is right now. For electricity in the area, depending on the size of your house and depending on season, you're averaging around $200 to $300 a month. Obviously, in the summer months, if you have central air conditioning, that cost is going to be higher. And the larger your house is, the higher that will be. With newer home construction or homes that were built within the last 10 years, there are a lot of energy efficient products for furnaces, for ACs. So keep that in mind as well too, that if you get a newer house, that your utility costs might be more economical than what you think, even if you have a much larger house. Some of them have zone heating. So something to keep in mind there. Gas costs, obviously higher in the winter. So you're moving to a state where it gets colder. So natural gas is something that is going to be a major cost in the winter months. I've seen some of them go as high as $300-400 a month, depending on how high you set your thermostat. But then on average, again, that's around $150 to $200 a month for gas. So your utilities overall, you're looking at $300 to $400 a month in the combined cost of what gas and electric would be. And again, if you have a smaller house, that might be less. If you have a larger house, that might be a little bit more, closer to $500, $550 a month for something like that. If you are looking for a house in the country, you're going to find propane, right? And more than likely, in our area, you might be coming from an area where they have a lot of oil tanks so there's not a lot of places that have oil. Okay, heating oil is not a huge thing. I've seen maybe less than a handful of heating oil homes. Several of them, I think, converted over to natural gas furnaces just because of the cost. But propane is something that if you're looking to move out into the country, that is something you have to be aware of. So on average, people fill up their tanks 2 or 3 times. If you have a 1,000 gallon tank, and it's or even a 500 gallon tank. I think 500 gallon tank might be on average of like what a propane tank would be. 500 gallon tank, $2 a gallon that they are potentially averaging for propane, $1,000 for a complete fill up. So if you have 2 of those fill ups, you're at $2,000. 3 of those fill ups, $3,000. Again, that ranges, that can vary according to how much usage that you have and also what the natural gas rate is at the time that you buy the propane. So again, another cost for you to keep in mind. Internet costs is another big thing for people who are wanting to live in the country. If you live in the city, you'll have a little bit more competition. You'll have Comcast, AT&T, all the major players are within the city limits. If you're looking to move out to the country, you better be sure that you have good internet and that it's reliable, especially if you're working from home. There are a couple reliable places, like I know that WOW, the reviews can be mixed. Xfinity, it can be mixed, but Xfinity might not go out to the country. There are a couple of internet providers that might be able to have decent speed, but for those of you out in the country, if you are working from home, you have to have a decent connection speed. But be aware that you're gonna have to look into what reliable internet speed will be if you're looking for an area where it's a little bit more remote. So that's it for utilities. So the next thing is, what is the sales tax in Michigan? So the sales tax in Michigan is 6%. That is a little bit less than the national average. Some places I've seen 7%. I used to live in Virginia. I know in Virginia they have a sales tax here, and then they have a percentage sales tax on groceries and then eating out. Okay, it's a flat 6% here in Michigan, except for groceries. Groceries, no sales tax. So 6% sales tax in this area. The cost of living for car insurance, which if you look at one of my videos, I definitely talk about car insurance, why it's so high. Car insurance is going to be a considerable cost for you. For a family that has 2 cars, it's roughly around $3,000 for the entire year. You're looking at $250 a month for your car insurance. And that depends on how new the car is, as well as your age. If you're under the age of 25 and you're looking to move here, your premiums might go up as well too. Also, dependent upon if you got a lot of speeding tickets or if you got into a lot of accidents, it's not gonna help your rate. If you have a teenage driver, it's around $4,000 a year. It's expensive to have teenagers drive in your house. And again, if you look at my car insurance video, why it's so high, I give you some tips of how you can try to make it a little bit more affordable with having a teenage driver. But car insurance is a major player when it comes to, you might look at car insurance when, you move here to the state and you've already bought a house and you've already had other things that you purchased and you didn't look or research to find out how much the car insurance is. And then you're like, man, I'm stuck. So again, this is a heads up to you. This is how much car insurance is gonna be. So when you are looking for a house, to be able to have this information will help you see like, okay, what am I comfortable with my monthly budget? What should I really be looking at? Fifth thing is fuel. And what I mean by fuel is gas. Fuel. Another thing I want to address too, just in our area, we do make a lot of electric cars, is electric cars as well. So fuel and electric cars. So if you have an electric car, be sure that the house you're at will be able to support a charger that will be able to support having an electric vehicle. That will make your electric costs, which I got to in the utilities, soar. We don't have a lot of electric gas stations yet, but they are building a couple. So there's one like that's on the west side of town where they're building in a whole entire electric station for people to be able to charge their cars. But as far as fuel, Michigan typically, especially in the Lansing area stays with the national average for fuel. So AAA comes out with, I feel like daily, they come out with, this is the average of cost of fuel. And then you can look a week or a month ago. Michigan stays within a few cents. So it's not like they're way higher. Sometimes they might be a few cents higher, sometimes they might be a few cents lower, but Lansing especially stays less. I feel like Detroit might be a little bit more for fuel and gas. Grand Rapids stays about the same as well too as Lansing, but if you're trying to budget for fuel, just pay attention to the national average. That will be able to help you out. Another thing just to help you be aware of though, is that when it comes to fuel, if you're coming from an area where you have a lot of toll roads, turnpikes, and you had to take it to work, in Lansing area, you're not gonna have anything like that. You're not gonna have to pay for toll roads. I know that would be an additional expense. The only place in Michigan that has a toll road is the Mackinac Bridge, which is straight up north, taking you right into the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's a beautiful bridge. You pay the toll to be able to cross over into the Upper Peninsula. It's one of the great Michigan landmarks, but that's it. That's the only toll that you're gonna be able to have. So that is a cost savings if you are coming from a major metropolitan area where you always had toll roads or you had those little easy passes that you had to drive through each and every day to go to work. You're not gonna have that here in Michigan. Just a little tip for you, we do have, for fuel, we have Speedway. So I know some areas might have Sheetz, might have Wawa, might have just those, I think Q might be another, I think that's what it's called. Forgive me if I have it wrong, but just like a mini mart that you'd be able to have, like a convenience store. We don't have Buc-ee's, I'm sorry, no Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is extremely cheap for gas. But Speedway is our gas station. Some of them have cafes where you can get sandwiches at. They're not as fancy as Wawa or Buc-ee's or any of those. But if you do have a rewards card, you get an automatic 5 cents off per gallon with the rewards right now. Also, we have Costco, we have Sam's Club, we have BJ's Warehouse. 3 warehouse areas where gas is going to be cheaper there as well. So a little tip for you, try to get a membership in one of those places. Gas is cheaper there, but then I know that Sam's and Costco, they do offer a credit card where you can get 4 or 5% in cash back from gas savings. That's another huge rebate that you can have. And I'm a Ramsey trusted professional, so Ramsey doesn't like credit cards. The one thing I differ with Ramsey on is if you have an expense like gas that you need to be able to, that you're gonna spend it anyway, why not get a rewards card where you can get 5% back on it? So just some tips for you guys to save on gas, because I know fuel with gas can again be another monthly cost that you need to be aware of when you move here. Number 6, groceries. So groceries in our area, roughly, like on average, it's roughly like 10% less than the national average. I have I have a lot of family members that live over in the eastern part of Pennsylvania. It's my wife's family, as well as my own family that lives in the eastern part of Pennsylvania, but they live closer over to the Philadelphia area. And a gallon of milk there, as of right now, again, this is November 2024, a gallon of milk there is about $6 for a gallon of milk. Here, right now, in the Lansing area, as of November 2024, a gallon of milk costs about $3. I was able to, at Kroger the other day, which is where I frequently shop, they had a deal where I could get a pound of butter for $2.50. I can get a loaf of bread for under $2 with the Kroger brand bread. So one thing I will tell you about grocery shopping, and I'm the person who actually does the pickup orders, the grocery shopping, I feel that groceries here in the Lansing area can be very affordable We have Kroger, we have Aldi, we have Meijer, which is like Walmart and also like Target, but we do have a Walmart Supercenter, one of those where you can get groceries as well. We have Sam's Club, Costco, all these places where there is competition. And I find like if I clip the digital coupons with Kroger and if I get the good sales, I'm not really feeling the inflation as much on groceries as what some people are. Now, I know in certain areas you've noticed a huge difference in some things, and I have too. I've noticed things get smaller and they're higher price, right? Inflation was a big deal, especially after COVID. But I find with groceries that because we have other competition, that you can get things for a reasonable price. I am a part of Boost with Kroger, which means I can get fuel points. And if I get 100 fuel points, I get 10 cents off a gallon. Well, I have Boost, which doubles that. And then sometimes they have 4 times fuel points if I make a grocery purchase, or even 5 times, which is crazy. So that savings can go towards my fuel as well. So if you pay attention to the sales, to the ads, groceries can be very affordable here in Michigan. I don't have like a monthly cost for a family of 4 of how much it would necessarily be, but I'm just trying to give you some perspective on what food prices look like here as far as what you'll be paying out of pocket for groceries. Next thing, childcare and schooling. So care.com did a survey that as of October 2024, the average starting cost of childcare providers in Lansing, Michigan is $15 an hour per kid. So if you're going to implement childcare, that's how much it is. The weekly rate for childcare providers in Lansing, Michigan is $619 for working a 40-hour week. And the monthly cost is approximately $2,011 for 130 hours of work. So something for you to be aware of with childcare costs, that's how much approximately it would be. For private schools, because we do have public schools, we do have private schools, Lansing Christian, we have some other private schools, New Covenant Christian. Those are running approximately $500 a month to $1,000 a month per kid. So something for you to be aware of there as well if you're looking into private schools. $500 a month to $1,000 a month per child. Now, the thing I will tell you about private schools is there is no grant for taking your kid to a private school. Michigan government does not have a grant that they give you. I know that I have family that lives in northern Indiana, and they give, I believe, like up to $500 a month per child for them to be able to go to private school. Michigan doesn't have that, so you're going to be paying that purely out of pocket. Just another helpful thing for you to know. Next thing, income tax of 1% in Lansing. So I've talked about this in other videos, but Lansing, if you live in Lansing City, you're going to pay a 1% income tax out of each and every one of your paychecks. If you work in Lansing City, but you live somewhere else, you're going to be paying 0.5%. And then East Lansing, exact same thing. 1% if you live there, 0.5% if you work there, but you don't live there in the East Lansing area. And then also there's a 4.25% state income tax. So that's where you're also gonna face as far as taxes. Last thing, because I know I told you, the entertainment, the eating out, the shopping, right? So shopping, it's pretty much the same around here with, we have Kohl's, we have all those nationwide chains. I don't see any difference there. Eating out in fast food, definitely with the average. I mean, I know costs have gone up considerably. So like if I go to McDonald's and I want to get a value meal, it's going to be $8 or $9. But if I have the app, I save money. Or if I use the app, I save money with it with rewards. A movie theater ticket, we have 3 large multiplexes. And a movie theater ticket will run you about $11 to $12 for a night show. If you have a matinee, it's around $8.50, $9 for a matinee. They do offer $5 Tuesdays or $5 deals, or I think it might be $6 now. So we have 3 multiplexes that have pretty much the same sort of charge. Celebration Cinema is my favorite in the area. It's towards the south side of Lansing because they do have recliner seats. I'm all about the experience. If I'm paying more money, that's what I've got to have. But I know some people are paying $15, $16, $17 plus what cost of concessions would be. And that just seems like a lot. Now, the one thing I like about NCG is that NCG every single year has a popcorn bucket that you can refill as many times as you want during that year. And you pay like, I don't know, $20, $25 to start out for the popcorn, and then you get cheaper refills whenever you go. And so I like using that because it saves some money on the concessions. But the other thing I will tell you too is that every single place that has shopping, entertainment, fuel, whatever you would say, the last thing I would like to say is really try to embrace the loyalty programs and the rewards programs when you go here, because I feel like the prices aren't bad, but if you can embrace rewards, loyalties, sales throughout the area, having the McDonald's app, going to Carrabba's or Outback and they have a dining reward system, having a frequency program. There are plenty of opportunities like that here in the Lansing area, and that has definitely saved me a lot of money over time. I know that you guys weren't watching this to be able to find out how much you could save money. I'm just kind of giving you some pro tips there. But I think other than that, that is it. I appreciate you watching this channel again and taking a look at the cost of living in Lansing. And please, if you like what you see, like, subscribe to my channel, ring the bell for any notifications. Also, if you have any questions on what I've talked about, please comment below and I would love to be able to interact with you. And of course, if you have any real estate needs within the area, I would love to be able to talk with you on the phone, or you can text me, you can email me. All that information is in the description below. Also, schedule a Zoom with me if you want to be able to talk one-on-one, face-to-face. Would love that opportunity as well. That's all for now. We covered a lot here. And until next time, make it a great day. Take care.